myself. My name is Carrie Phipps, and I'm the school counselor for ninth graders. I have a couple of people helping me with this today, counseling and career and college guidance. So if you guys want to introduce yourself, that'd be great.
My name is Diane Berry, and I work with 10th through 12th grade students with last names beginning A through H-A. Aha.
And I'm Jen Marsden. I'm the college and career specialist, and I'm mainly here to help monitor the chat and to pitch in any way I can.
We are the parents of Brent Monning Jr., Chris, and John.
Woo-hoo. I guess we could do that. How many people do we have in here, though? I think that might take a while.
We have 50 now, so.
Then,
But I love that introduction. I wish we could do that. I wish we could.
So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get started. As Jen said, she's gonna monitor the chat. I'm pretty sure you all have the ability to submit a chat, at least to me, hopefully, well, to Jen and Diane and I. Is that true for everyone? Can I hear a yay?
Yes.
Yes.
Woo, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for that. And as we know, otherwise we keep our microphones off so that we don't get interrupted by dogs and doorbells and such. So Jen's gonna monitor the chat. Go ahead and put your questions in there. We're hoping that we cover everything, most everything that you may have a question about. And at the end, we'll take some time and we'll go ahead and answer those questions. And so we hope to not be here too much longer than 6:15. So let's get started. First thing I want you to know that, the ninth grade, this has not been a typical year at all. And we definitely all know that. That's why I was doing this. But there's a lot of things that are typical about ninth grade. And things like time management and procrastination. Is just like high school is different than middle school. And they really struggle with like, wow, I really have to pay attention to how I'm spending my time, and procrastination catches up with me, right? And then, of course, social media gets in our way. One thing new with this whole COVID is we're noticing that emails are piling up, and students, 14, 15-year-old humans are not used to having to manage that kind of email, and they're getting good at it, but it's still something that can be a little overwhelming. Falling behind in class is very stressful, and then of course the relationships and friendships, that has really changed this year with not being in class, and kind of having to stick with the pod and not making a lot of new friends. And so it's definitely been quite a challenging year. And I say that because I just wanted to kind of normalize that there are struggles in freshman year anyway. And but we also acknowledge that there's been very significant new struggles. One thing we know is that students have been managing, learning how to, coping strategies, learning how to persevere, I should say, and things by doing exercise and meditation, reading, getting out there and skateboarding and yoga. And so, so I hope you've seen that. And if not, I hope, these are some things that you might help your student try. All right, so today, our agenda, I'm just talking, aren't I, Diane?
That's okay. Keep going, Carrie.
So, so our agenda today is we're going to talk about forecasting. This is a very exciting time. Usually this is like kids are like, wait, we have to think about next year already? And it is like, yes, we need you to think about next year already. Actually, how about you think about, a few years down the road? We're also going to go over the course guide, basic information. We're really excited about our course guide this year. It's probably the best one I've seen. And then what it means to create a 4-year graduation plan, and also Microsoft forecasting forms that we're going to be brand new this year and when they're due. This one's for you, Diane.
Okay, so our goals for today We kind of modeled this presentation off of some presentations we've been doing with your students. So we want you to understand what a graduation planning guide is and know what your student has been working on. We want you to also be aware of a little bit of our SCORE platform, which is a career and college exploration and planning platform that your student has now accepted an account with. We wanted your student to complete their graduation planning guide this past week, but we're encouraging them to continue to work on it if they haven't, and then to upload it to SCORE and to email it to their counselor with a CC to their parents. And our final goal is for you all to know how your student is going to be completing the online forecasting form. So the reason we're sharing all this information is that we know that the more you know, the more you can participate in these really good, robust conversations with your children. You can help them make those good sound decisions. You can be that sounding board with them, as the more, again, that you're aware of what we're doing on this end with them. Okay, thank you.
And some of the other things that we've asked students to do is to really look at how the skills, the skills that they have now and the interests that they have can be put together into a career, or what they want to study in college or university. We've also asked them to fill out a VIA character strength survey, and we've been talking to them a lot about what their top 5 strengths are. There's 24, and looking at how those strengths also help us get through, like working with the coworker, or navigating different aspects of school, plus looking at how it would help us in our choices after high school. So forecasting for classes, we're trying to ask them to take all that information and kind of make really informed and thoughtful choices of what they want to take while they're with us.
Okay, so forecasting for classes is a great time to think about the future. We know that your students right now are just finishing up their 9th grade year, but it is never too soon to start having those discussions about career awareness, work awareness, what a community college is, what a 2-year school may offer, what a 4-year university might be, what technical or trades programs offer our students. And again, we will be having these conversations, but we're excited for you also to have these conversations. What apprenticeship programs are, and we have quite a few of those in the Valley here. Some of our students, we don't always do a great job promoting this, but we know that for some of our students, the military is a wonderful fit. And we do have reps come in the fall and meet with students who are interested. So there's all sorts of post-secondary paths that we really want to help your students explore, so that they have, when they become juniors and then seniors, they feel confident, comfortable, and honestly excited about a path or two that they want to head down.
Okay, so our assumption, of course, is that all of our students want to get a high school diploma. And when forecasting, it's really important that they look at what they need in order to earn that diploma. So there are graduation requirements that are listed on this page. These are also on the transcript. Now, all of your students should have received a copy of their very own transcript, and what classes that they took and the grades that they received. And according to the grades they received, whether or not they received the credit. Okay, so as you can see, like in English, they need 8 credits to graduate from high school. So that's 2 a year over the 4 years. And the second row talks about the credits that have been completed. And the last row is the deficient section. So what do you still need? So this is a typical graduation requirement tally on a transcript for the ninth graders. So most of them earned about 6.13 credits. Some students took a seventh class, and so that would look a little bit different. And each class is given a subject area code, and that's where you know where a class landed in the graduation requirements. When we talk about the course catalog, I just put in here that it's also on page 7, and it's a little bit, you know, a little bit more information about that. But this is the driving pathway that we hope students, they need to know what the graduation requirements are and make the right choices. It'd be great if they can just come and take all of the courses that they want and not have to take any of the ones they don't want, but we don't do that.
Okay, so we do want you to be aware of the Ashland High School course catalog. We've made some enormous improvements to it this year. The biggest improvement is now digital. Yeah. And it's got some really, really nice features to it, which I'm going to talk about in the next slide.
Well, I
oh,
can.
Nope, Carrie's going to talk about it in the next slide.
It's okay.
Yep. Go ahead.
So one of the things is we have a fancy little table of contents. Actually, it's not fancy. It's everything you hope it should be, right? So the table of contents is on page between page 2 and 5. That it's organized in alphabetical order, and that's in the classes. You know, hopefully that will make things easier to find. But it's also where you can click on any part, anything listed on here, and it'll go directly to that page. And for the courses, it'll go directly to the page, and you get a course description right away. And then on the top of the page, it will take you right back to the table of contents. So you don't have to do a bunch of scrolling and figuring out what page you're on, or you know how to. It's much easier to navigate this way. And
okay, so I do want to mention that the course catalog is available in a number of places, but it is available on our Ashland High School website under academics and under counseling services, under the forecasting link. But the easiest place to go is under academics, and there's a link right there. We are also, your students are actually going to get a lot of access to it, but I'm going to recommend that to be the best place for parents to look for it. This is just an example page of the table of contents in terms of our course listings. What we're telling your students is look at the categories and look around the color bars as kind of a nice way to know, here are your math classes all in blue, here's all your social science classes in yellow, and so forth. Once you tab, as we talked about, onto a particular class, you will move to the course description.
so right now I'm just going to pretend I clicked on digital photography, and so that's what we have listed here. And I just want to go over the different parts that it has. And so the first one is the title, and then in parentheses it has what grade level that class is okay to take, between 9 and 12 for digital photography. How it's listed in PowerSchool, so it's just digital photo in PowerSchool, what the code is there. There's also a national sharing code, and we give that as well. So if you go to a different school, they can look up that code and see that it's the same class. This tells us that it's only 1 semester long, so each semester is worth 1 credit. And the next part is the most important piece, and that's the prerequisite. And so now we know that the prerequisite for digital photography is mixed media foundation. So a student has to take that class before they can take digital photography. And whether or not there's a fee for this class is listed at the end, and then obviously the course description is right underneath there.
I do want to mention, Carrie, just to make sure everybody knows that any class fee is
Yeah.
covered if your child qualifies for free and reduced lunch. We always encourage students to apply for that, even if they do not intend to eat lunch here or breakfast here, because what that does is open the door for a multitude of fee waivers throughout their 4 years here. So again, just a big plug for filling that form out.
Okay, thanks, Diane.
Okay, this page, I believe it's on 16 or 17 of the catalog. This is a page that covers all of our early college credit classes. These are important to take note of because these are classes that your student can earn both a high school graduation credit and a college credit for. And so I think it really gives students some excitement and connection with that post-secondary path. You can earn credits toward vocational programs like welding or mechanics, that kind of thing. Or you can earn credits toward, again, a four-year college degree. So we always encourage students to check out this page and be aware. As counselors, we will help your student enroll in that college credit in the fall and make sure that they are obtaining it.
Okay, we were gonna take a little tour of that. How are we doing with time, Diane? Should we do that?
I think we're okay. We're good. I think if you want to go ahead and bring that up, that would be fun to see.
Okay, in order to do that, I'm gonna stop sharing and then I'm going to share again. Okay, I have to go find that page. Here we go. And can everybody see that now, I hope?
I can see it.
Okay, so so this is the table of contents. And so I'd like to go, I think I'm gonna go to the AP, the social science department. Here it is. AP US History is a course that students can take. And so you see I clicked on that. It takes me right to AP US right on top here. It tells me what the there's no prerequisite, honestly, actually there isn't, I should have known that. But it also has college credit attached to it and it's a year-long class. And so then I can go click on the return to the table of contents and there I am. Now, also here's the graduation requirements on page 7. And you can see that it's listed, it breaks it down a little bit more into exactly what social science classes the students need to take, what science class options they need to take, a physical and a life science and additional science. And then again, I can just go right back, whoops, to the table of contents and be able to start my search again. I think that's a good example of that.
Yeah, Carrie, why don't you look up a class that shows a college credit like
Like the
stage
AP?
management? Why don't you look up stage management?
Oh, you mean like not like AP class? Of course it was.
No, one of our early college credit classes.
Yeah. All right. That's under theater, and I think that's over here. Here we go. Stage management. So you see it's listed right at the top here. The prerequisite is instructor permission, but it is for 10th to 12th grade. And then it does say that SOU credit is available. So what a great class to take. Okay, thanks for that. Diane, I'm gonna bring us back to the PowerPoint.
Okay.
And can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Woohoo! I love it when it works.
Okay, so when we think about our four-year graduation planning, what we've worked with your ninth graders around is getting oriented to their transcript so they become familiar with it and understand, again, how they accrue and earn credits. And then what we've had them do is fill out their ninth grade year, fill out their 10th grade year. They are absolutely welcome to fill out their junior and senior year. It can be a dynamic document that changes as we go along, but what it gives a student and a parent kind of the ability to do is shape, your course as you go along and kind of give you a sense of what you're predicting as you're moving along, and understanding what prerequisites are. And if you want to take anatomy and physiology by your junior year, you need to have bio and chem underneath your belt freshman and sophomore year, those kinds of things. So that gives you a little overview of our 4-year planning.
Yeah, you can have bio and chem in your 10th and 11th grade year and take it 12th. So
Yeah,
those are the 2 prerequisites. Yeah. Okay. So this is the form that we asked them to fill out. This is a fillable form. We've been kind of like, call it the graduation planning guide, the 4-year plan. And so they should be able to just fill it in. I've already received a lot of them because we asked them to send one to me, send one to you, to the parents, and also hopefully load it up into the score so that they can reference it later. The grade 10 one, unfortunately, we don't know exactly how many periods we're going to have, what the master schedule is going to look like. Is it going to be, this year we only had 6 period scheduled. We've always had an 8-period schedule. Maybe next year, it might be 7. And so we're not really sure. And so we have given them a lot of space to fill in other electives as well.
So this second page is just showing you the second half of the graduation plan. And what we really emphasize with students is that their choice increases with each year. So as you know from your 9th grade student, they didn't have a lot of choice, which is always a little bit disappointing, to be honest. When we forecast over with 8th grade students, and they realize maybe they only get 1 or 2 electives depending on what they're taking. So as sophomores, they will have more choice. And as you can see here with grade 11 and grade 12, their required courses decrease and their elective choice classes increase. So again, what we want to remind our students during high school is this is the time to explore. We know that developmentally, all sorts of incredible things are happening in terms of brain development. We know that exposure to a variety of content areas can really be pivotal, can really be important. Students who take a fiber arts class for the first time. I had a student to go off to OSU and enter the design program there because she became such an accomplished both design and seamstress, both in creating the design and actually creating clothing. So again, we just really want to emphasize to your students to try on as many different electives as they move along as possible, so that they get a sense of what they enjoy and what fits.
Yeah, and we know that colleges really look for that too. How many did they, step out of their comfort zone and then maybe start concentrating more when they get into 11th and 12th grade. Okay, we have a number of electives that we'd like to highlight this year. We are forecasting for a yoga class. Unfortunately, the yoga class right now is not considered PE, it's an elective. And we're trying to fix that. But anyway, right now it's not considered an elective credit. We also have a mindfulness studies class. This year, our intro to manufacturing class turned it into a technical drafting class, but the students seem to like it, so we're going to continue that. And the teachers decided to expand it by offering the computer-aided manufacturing lab, or CAM lab, they're calling it. We also these are just hot right now. We just added them. The principle of marketing and intro to business classes, we were able to bring back as well. And actually students don't know about that. So please let them know that if they're interested in taking either one of those classes, it is being offered. The principles of marketing is a year-long class, and intro to business is a semester-long class. We also have some really cool music electives that were pretty successful this year, intro to guitar, and creative music making, which if your student's been playing with electronic music making, it's been a fantastic class. This year we didn't have culinary arts, and I just wanted to say, woohoo, we have it. We're gonna forecast for it for next year. So, there are a few things that that students cannot forecast for, and one of those, if they're in the Thoreau program, they're not going to forecast for Thoreau. We want them to do a regular forecasting, but we know who they are, and so we will put them back in Thoreau. And if you're interested in a Thoreau program, which is an alt ed program, it's still an application to be admitted to that. Okay.
Okay, so one thing we do want to quickly remind you all to think about as you kind of guide your student is to think about balance. This has been a really unusual year where there hasn't been, as you know, much going on. But typically we do want students to think about, will they have a job? Will they play a sport? These are both potentially big, significant time commitments. Will they have time to exercise? Maybe somebody's a runner. Will they have time for family and friends? Will they get enough sleep? Do they plan to be in a club, run and be the president of a club? Clubs meet typically every single week, so that can be a big commitment. If they're part of a theater production, that's as much as a varsity sport, maybe more so during theater season. So again, when we think about rigor, which we really encourage our students to pursue, we also want them to think about their out of school balance, because we know that, again, growing that sense of whole person is really, really critical. And we do end up with students, as you probably all are well aware of, who can become very stressed out and out of balance. So I think as parents and guardians, again, it's super important to have these conversations with our kids if our kids tend to want to overschedule themselves. These are pretty tender years. And again, we want to support physical and mental health just as much as academic growth.
Okay. I think we just had a blackout. No, I'm kidding. We want to show you our CTE video, which is just about 2 minutes long, but it's fantastic. Look at what the classes look like actually in the classroom. I hope you can all hear it.
CTE is the best part of the school day.
Learn and apply new skills in project-based classrooms.
Become passionate about something at school.
Career technical education is probably the most valuable thing we can impart on the high school level.
It's a creative outlet for energy that you have, and it's where you can learn really useful skills that you use your whole life as a hobby or even a career.
right. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead, Diane.
So obviously, if students need more help with class selection, we welcome them to come our way. When we are giving this lesson on how to fill out the forms on Wednesday, we'll have a Zoom link open, but we'll also be encouraging them to email us. We're encouraging them to talk to you all, to review the course guide, and obviously to talk to peers. We've missed out on peer conversations this year. Typically those happen a lot on walks to lunch and hanging out in the quad and that kind of thing. So we're going to, again, kind of nudge our kids when they have questions to talk to a student that may have already taken a class and what they think of it and what they
I was playing with
Bridget, your iPhone, your mic is on. Okay, so so this is the introduction to the 10th grade forecasting form. Now, they could say 9th grade, but this is for the current 9th graders, okay? So right there on the side is what it looks like, what the form looks like. It's now online and it's digital.
let's
And
pause and let's, Bridget.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
they'll be able to find this form in 3 different places. I'll be sending an email to all of them with a link to the form, probably on Tuesday afternoon. It'll be on the advisory class Canvas page, so they'll have access to it on Wednesday. And we will also have it in the Ashland High School website under forecasting. We hope to have that up soon. We're still working on that one. So they will have access to it on Wednesday. We're gonna take a little look at it, but I'll let Diane take this part.
So when they fill it out, we just want them again to reference their 4-year graduation plan that they filled out, because that helps them just track their classes. We really want to encourage them to read the directions carefully. Each category of class has a short but very important set of directions in front of them. We are encouraging them to take their time, and we are asking them to kind of keep track of their electives, although it's fine as long as they fill them all out. We'll be keeping track of them on our side also.
Now, I made the hyperlink right here in the bullseye for this, but we know that it doesn't work as well as we want it to. And so I'm pretty sure this is where I take you to, I'm gonna stop sharing again and then start sharing the, hopefully this works. I forgot to change it. Can you guys see it?
Yep.
Oh, good, perfect. Love it when it works out. So, so now I'm on the website where the form is located. This is, what it looks like. We're asking them to put their first name in, they just have to type it in. Sorry, their last name first, then their first name, because it makes it easy for us to find them. We do want their phone number because sometimes when there's a conflict or something, we need to make a choice. We like to call them and get their feedback about making a choice. As we talked about earlier, the 10th grade, they will be taking another block class. So like grade 9, they're taking 9th grade English and global studies. Next year, they take 10th grade English and a social science, either American Studies or AP US History. It's the same teacher. It's a block class. They have it every single day. They will be taking a math and a science. And the first selection that they have to make is in whether they will be taking AP US or American Studies. And so then it goes to the next question. We ask them which math class they're going to be in, and they just do the drop box. They make a selection. And then some students like to take 2 sciences in 10th grade. And so, if they have a good math background, they can do that. And so we have made that an option for them, but and obviously they have to answer this question. So if they, don't they have to answer this question? the, so is this the
That's,
second?
that's the
Oh,
initial.
that's the first one. Okay, that's the,
That's the
I'm like,
first
wait a
one.
minute. Okay, that's the first one. Sorry, thank you, Diane. And then the second one, number 7, you can push none. And so they have to make a choice up here, you know, what am I going to take? And then down here, do you want to take a second science? It's like, no, not really. So I just push none. And so we do ask them to make a selection for each question. Same thing for world language. I'm going to continue my Mandarin studies. And PE is 2 credits of PE. So 2 semesters of PE are a graduation requirement. That's why we put it up here, because we know that if you don't like PE and you wait till you're a senior, you're not going to like it anymore. And so any better than you did when you were younger. So you might as well take it now. And but as sophomores, 10th graders, they have a few more select classes that they can take, right? So and then it's you know, whether they're going to continue with their music studies here or not. And so as you can see, now I have an English class, I have a social studies class, I have a math class, I have a science class. That's 4 classes. Plus I'm going to take a world history.
World language.
Well, sorry, world language. Thank you, Diane. A world language. So now I've already have 5 classes. And then I'm going to take PE, that's 5.5 classes. And so I'm kind of got to keep a little idea of how many electives I'm choosing, but we are going to be asking students to take more electives than they can actually get. Like, we don't know what the schedule is going to look like, but we want them to choose more than what they can actually take, and let us know what their first choice elective is, right? And there's a long list of electives, but it's all in alphabetical order. So they get to choose which one they want, their first choice. And this is really important because it's going to be, we're going to see it as the most important class that they want as an elective. And then the second one, same list of electives, and they just go down and make another choice. 3, 4, 5, 6 different elective choices. Most of them are only 1 semester. If they're not, you see they have, it tells you if it's a year-long class or not. It also tells you if there's a prerequisite. And so there's a lot of information for them to make a good choice for themselves and make sure that they have the prerequisites and so forth. So if I wanted to take culinary 2, I better have culinary 1 up on top, right? All right, and so that is the 6 the elective choices. And then here's where I said if you're going to if you're applying to Thoreau or not. And if there's any other circumstances that we need to know, and then they hit submit. And that's pretty much how it's pretty intuitive. We think kids are going to find it really easy. The most important part is choosing the electives in the order of the preference. Okay, here I go. I'm going to stop sharing again. Come back over to this PowerPoint. And sorry, Diane, I didn't even ask you if you wanted to add to that.
Oh, I think it's, again, I do want to, I guess I want to, as you were going through that form, Carrie, I just wanted to thank Jen Marston again, because Jen Marston actually created these forms for us this year, which is not really part of her job description, but she did a marvelous job. So that's what I was thinking as you were doing that, Carrie.
Oh, yes, indeed. We owe her a great debt for this.
Okay, so when we think about just the summary of assignments for forecasting, if your student hasn't already filled out their graduation planning guide, we'd really like them to work on that. We want them to do that while we want them to engage with the catalog as much as possible. We want them to save it using their name and date, because this may change as they move along over the next few years. All of your students have been invited to accept an invitation from SCORE. And as I said before, SCORE is a career and college exploration and planning platform that we are now that we now work with and we're really excited about. There is a My Drive on SCORE, and that's where students can upload all sorts of different documents so that, again, as they move sophomore, junior, all the way to their senior year, their SCORE platform will actually be a portal in which they can store all sorts of information that will benefit them with the college application process, or again, any kind of job search or 2-year program or apprenticeship, kind of planning program.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that 2 weeks ago, we had them go through, the interest and the skills and kind of write those things down and what they were hoping to do after high school. And we had them loaded up into My Drive in SCORE. So they do know, if your student hasn't told you, they do know what SCORE is and where to find My Drive.
We also want them to email a copy to their parents and to their counselor of that graduation planning guide. It just really helps us stay on top of our support for them. And then they're going to go to, after they've uploaded that graduation planning guide and sent it, they're just going to go to their forecasting form, make their selections, and submit it. We really are hoping to have it all done by this Friday. I know some folks might think, well, we've got a long break coming up. It would be nice to have that time to think about it. We really do not find a great deal of success in assignments that happen over long periods of break. So we'd really like students and parents to think through their choices and get those into us now. We do, as we go along, at times, consider a change here and there. So that's not the end of the world, but we'd really like to get your child's best, guess at what they'd like to sign up for right now.
Yeah, I think that on Wednesday, when we talk to students about how to fill this form out and where to find the form and start taking a look at it. Now, some of them are going to be ready to fill it out and just submit it right away on Wednesday. And, if that's okay, then, great. But otherwise, we are going to ask them to, make sure they sit down with their families and go over it and get it in on Friday. Yeah. And I was going to say, and I'm going to be available on Zoom. They'll have a link to ask me any questions between 9:30 and 11:30. I mean, I'm always available. I just want you to know that I'm always available for questions. But I just, to make it really easy for them from advisory to just find me. And so I think that leaves us to questions. That's the last slide. Jen. Looks like we got about 30 questions in there. Can you summarize and let us know what?
I think
Do we want to record the questions, by the way?
Yeah, just to clarify for people, there's a lot of questions about APUS and hearing about a lot of homework. And this seems like a big jump from 9th grade to 10th grade in terms of workload. And so just to clarify what I've been saying, my feeling, having a student who went through AHS and been here for 12 years, seeing lots of students, the jump from 9th grade to 10th grade, if your student took science as a freshman, took a world language, it's not a big jump in workload between 9th and 10th grade. In fact, 10th grade is one of the kind of a breather years because 9th graders kind of get a handle finally of what it's like to have the course load of 9th grade versus 8th grade. The issue is sometimes for 10th graders who choose APUS, the APUS English 10 block over American Studies English 10. And there was a lot of questions back and forth about that because the teacher told students, Mr. Heward, that there's about 7 hours of homework a week. So that's scary for some students. And yes, the homework level for classes is definitely more. For some students, it might not take that long to do the homework. It depends how fast a reader and a writer a student is. and I tried to explain in the chat, APUS is an unusual class. Most of our our AP classes are one period, right? One block. APUS is paired with English 10, just like American Studies is paired with English 10. So there's 2 periods. And for APUS, because APUS has a ton of writing in it, the teacher treats that APUS English 10 block as 2 full periods of APUS, pretty much. So when he's saying that there's 7 hours of homework a week, he's pretty much talking for those 2 classes, which really for an AP class and an English class isn't that much. So I just wanted to clarify because there was some confusion about that. And one of the parents pointed out too, it really differs for students. And Diane, you might be able to speak to this too, in terms of how long how much work these classes are in terms of their writing and reading capabilities. It starts to make a big difference as they get into these AP classes.
Well,
Yeah.
I'd like to say,
Go ahead.
I'd like to say that generally we have, over 100 students request this class, and most of them do stay in it. They're not leaving. I think that being able to teach an AP class for about, an hour and a half a day for a teacher, that is a lot of time. Most teachers don't have that much time to teach this content. They're only seeing a student, 2 or 3 times a day, 2 or 3 times a week. And so I think Mr. Hewitt has really figured out how to make it more digestible for a large group of students. And so I just wanted to point that out, that, yeah, there is more work. I mean, it is expected that they will, the critical thinking skills, the analytical skills, they have, they're going to be asked to do work that maybe they haven't been asked before and write it down. But it's really going to be a great class, in the long run. Like, it's going to help them in their 11th and 12th grade year as well.
Yeah, I did put that in the chat too, because it is a very manageable class for sophomores. In fact, some students have said in the past that some of the other 10th grade teachers that they were doing more work than their friends in APUS, because a lot of the APUS kids kind of get down the format. It's very consistent. They get good at knowing how to do it. The problem is going from 10th to 11th grade, and I've been working with a lot of students, I've seen it for years, where kids think all their AP classes will be like APUS. And so now they can take 3 because APUS was easy. And that is just not the case. So just keep that in mind next year as your students forecasting for 11th grade, and suddenly they can take a lot more AP classes, that going from one AP class, APUS, that's spread over 2 periods, to 2 or 3 AP classes will be a big increase, especially when their math level is higher, their science level is higher. That's when we see kids kind of overload by accident. So good to think about it.
What other kind of questions do we have?
There was just a good question. Is the forecast form supposed to be fillable? It looks static and has to be printed. No, it's actually a Microsoft form that you submit, and then we get that information. So nothing needs to be printed. The student just fills it out, clicks on all the classes they want, and then at the bottom, click submit, and we get sent the information.
Yeah, it's like a Google form, a Survey Monkey. It's but Microsoft makes it more secure. So we went with.
So I'm not sure. So was there a forecast sheet that was given to some advisors? There seems to be some confusion.
Well, I do wonder about that. I've gotten those emails myself. In my in my spotlight, I think I forgot to add the graduation planning guide. And I just wonder, because I've gotten some questions like, this 9th grade form doesn't seem to be the right one. And I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. People think that their kids have already been able to try to fill out the forecasting form. I've gotten this in the chat and I've said, no, that's not released to students until this week.
The thing is, Jen, even if they filled out that form, it's not the forecasting, it's not the actual. So that's just a sheet that helps them work through it, just like the graduation plan is. The actual submitting the form, which we'll give you the link to later, is the one that they have to do. The Microsoft Forms that said 10th grade forecasting on top, that's the one that they have to fill out. So anything else, I don't know where it came from. It might have did, I guess I could ask, I bet, because I know it was still listed on the Ashland High School website. Those forms were still there.
Oh, maybe that's it. So here's a good question in the chat. Are there any classes offered at SOU this summer that fill some of the core requirements, or summer school anywhere? So at AHS, if a student wants to take a college class and get credit for it, to have it put on their AHS transcript, they have to get permission beforehand. Our students usually don't do that because the problem with college classes is they're not semesters most places like ours are. So if a kid takes a class at SOU, you get a quarter credit, it's like 0.33. It really doesn't satisfy much. Most of our students don't need any elective credits, and their core classes usually need to be taken through the high school. We do have lots of kids who take SOU classes and college level classes through early entry, but usually not to satisfy any core requirements. But if they have a real interest, that's a good thing to talk to their counselor about.
Okay, great. So sounds like we covered most of the questions then,
I think
according to you, Jen,
so.
about APUS, about the online form.
I'm just looking to see if there's more. Oh, someone asked, when students select their electives on their forecasting form, those are not their preferences for the next 3 years, right? No, absolutely not. This is just for next year. The only reason we're having them select so many is in case their first choices aren't available, that we have alternates that they may be interested for. So they get to do this every year.
Yeah, you know, the graduation planning guide, I try to emphasize that, you know, what you want to take as a junior or a senior, if they fill it out that far. It's a fluid document. It's a living document. It's not set in stone. And as Diane mentioned a little earlier, we will consider a few adjustments as needed. Some students sign up for AP US history, and then they start doing the summer assignment, and they're like, you know what, I don't want to take this class, and they end up getting out of it in the fall. And so and you know, that's okay. And so I just, yeah,
I just wanted to ask one question, because this came up too about workload. So I mentioned that the science classes, the workload can really vary whether you take chemistry or environmental science or integrated science. And I know somewhere there exists that workload kind of science breakdown. Is that on the website somewhere, or?
I know that the science teachers shared it with the kids. They shared it with us too. But I don't know if it's posted on the website. Diane, do you know?
I don't think it is, but I think we should get it there.
Sure.
I think it's a great breakdown.
Yeah.
Helps to understand the amount of abstract thought involved, the amount of homework, the amount of again,
math, what math level,
you know, all that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be good, because I was really surprised a few years ago when they did the breakdown in chemistry. Out of all their classes, AP Physics being one of them, was the most abstract and had the highest level of abstraction. And people think of it traditionally as a sophomore class, and most of our sophomores take it because they have the math ability, the prerequisite needed, but it's a tough class.
You're talking about chemistry?
Yes, I'm talking about chemistry.
Well, you know, it's just a theory. Sorry.
Well, so, I mean, so listen. So what I'm saying is, listen to your students' science teachers' recommendations. If they're saying they might not be ready for chemistry, they might not be ready for chemistry. It's a hard class at AHS. So it's just something to keep in mind.
No, I think that, I hope
that is a jump up in workload for sure from our biology and environmental science.
It's a huge step, and I think that most students are done with Algebra 1 before they go to chemistry. And if our students are not getting a B or better in Integrated Math 1, they should not be taking chemistry. They go ahead and take integrated science, or some, because integrated science is challenging and it's a little bit of chemistry and physics. And so they'll be ready, much more ready when they're juniors to take chemistry. All right, well, we've been here for about almost an hour now. So, and you guys, I am absolutely available. Please send me an email or have your students see me on Wednesday during my Zoom meeting, and I can always set an appointment for us to Zoom. And so I really appreciate you being here because it's so helpful for the students when they start asking questions, or you ask them, what are you taking next year? Anyway, thank you so much for coming. Is that good? All right. I'm going to stop.
Thank you.